Welcome back, friends and traders. Good afternoon. It's time for lunchbox trading. Go grab yourself a ham sandwich, glass of milk, whatever it is you do to relax during the slow hours in the markets. Because we've got the incomparable Anne Marie Band here, head coach of the Hive Top Step VIP Experience, and Coach Deanna, head coach of the Chameleonaires. What is up today, guys? We were just talking markets a bit in the green room. What do you say we go around the horn and discuss a little bit about what we're seeing? Anne Marie, you're playing the range in the ES today. Is that correct? Getting
Yes, it
ready to
is.
make another move. What's the range you're looking at? What kind of time frame are you looking at?
So I
How's
am
it been
looking
working
at
out
the
so far?
it's been working pretty well. I've been using the 1 hour time frame and I have let me move these over. I know everybody hates all of those charts. So for the formation here, I always put a red box about around that opening trade in the Globex to see whether we move up or down. And I anchored the VWAP to the highest volume trade of yesterday. And the traders have really been respecting that. Now, my thought is that if it were not for that horrendous ADP number,
Mm-hmm.
we probably would have moved to the north. But that number made a lot of people nervous. And so I expect that a lot of sellers just piled in here. And so I just waited for my 1 hour candlestick and I took maybe 4 trades in this direction and waited for it to come to the bottom, got out of the trade. And so this is the next one. It just missed me for the last buy. And so I would have put a short on up here, except that I think the buyers are going to be a little sneaky and make the sellers run their stop. And so what I want to see is the blowout over the top and then the rejection back under 59.97. And then I'm going to go short again.
Excellent. So sort of a textbook failed top lay. You look for that liquidity grab, wipe out all
Yes.
those stop orders, and then just ease
Off to the
back into
races.
range. Yep.
Yes. Yes, sir.
You mentioned that ADP miss. It was a pretty big miss, only 37,000 new jobs. And that 80
Horrific.
that ADP number is nothing to scoff at either. We were talking about this during the opening call. That covers it surveys 500,000 companies, totaling 25 million U.S. jobs. So it's a
Yeah.
decent precursor as to what we can expect from our non-farm payrolls number out on Friday, even jobless claims tomorrow. So there's still more jobs data out, but people might be using this as sort of a lead-in to maybe put a position on into that number or
Yeah.
sort of play around it a little bit. So a lot of
Agreed.
moving parts of that. We are mid-range in the ES right now. We'll check on the tilt real quick. We've got 58% long in the ES, 60% long in the NQ, 59% long in crude, and 68% short in gold right now. Deanna, you are short gold right now. You are with
I am
the tilt at the moment. What were you seeing in gold?
with the
Want
tilt.
to walk us through your trade? You are with the
Yeah,
tilt.
sure. I'm with the tilt. Yeah, I'm one with the tilt. Okay, so if we get my charts up, I'm using a pretty wide stop of 60 ticks. I was tortured by copper earlier. I kept expecting the move that never came. So then I was like, okay, that's not moving. so yeah, probably spent about 5 hours waiting for the move. And then I kind of had a scan around the markets and realized that gold was actually, pretty lively today out of all of the things. And then I'm now gonna go back to my drawings here, which is a bit of a handful, but I'm gonna run you through each of them, just where my thinking was. So we had a gamma wall at 34.05 that kind of put a stop to the further movement, at least for now. We also had a core resistance level at 3100, no, 3400, sorry. And that's still causing the top of the range to be formed. And so far, we are struggling there. Every time we come up to it, there's a sell off. I was expecting a breakout. This is like the day where D is expecting breakouts and not getting them. So, this is why I'm kind of in the middle of the range. And that's also the reason for a bigger stop. But the idea was that not only did we have those calls up at those levels, but also I had my average session range high up at 3403. We did have a pretty strong auction earlier. This red box represents the initial balance. We went into some single prints, and those single prints are now sitting with the edge at about 3393.2. If we ever get there today, basically, I would like to see a single print fade through them. And then at the very least to the top of the initial balance, which is at 3385.4. I do have a bit of an aggressive target all the way down where the put support is, and that's 33.75. I'm not thinking we're going to get there, but just in case we get some kind of a tape bomb or something, and I'm not quick enough to take profits, I want to keep my target in there. But the whole target zone actually starts from 33.85. So let's see what happens into settlement. Gold has this habit to go into this setup, which I named auction fade. It's basically something that happens in commodities specifically, where we go into a one-sided auction, then we run into some problem levels like a gamma wall, and then into settlement, it just starts rolling back towards the initial balance. So far, it's just so range bound, nothing's happening, but I'm willing to risk a decent amount here in order to grab that move down. I'm not nitpicking on stops, and on some of my other charts, I do have the 15 and 30 minutes on, and even the 3 hour chart, which I quite like, just to make sure that I'm not getting too zoomed into the minutia of the range that I'm seeing, because I'm looking for that break and a rollover to the other side. So that's the idea. It's a pretty systematic trade. I just hope I get some movement, but it seems like
Hmm.
in the last sort of week or so, every time I touch something, it just dies on me. Is it summer doldrums? Maybe. Or is it just a D effect? I don't know. Last year when I touched crude oil on the TV, suddenly it just went dead on me. And then I spent 6 months going, come on, is it back? Oh, it's not back. Oh, is it back? It's not back. So obviously now if I see that we're just range bound through and through, I might start hopping around some of my commodities that I know can move during the summer. And actually, gold is one of them. Out of all of the products, when you look at it statistically during the summer, it doesn't suffer all that much from the dry up during the summertime. So it
Hmm.
might be something to consider. The range is still a little bit crazy, but again, that's the reason for a wider stop. So we'll see what happens. I'm either going to run out of equity on the day or this thing is going to work. Let's go.
Go big or go home.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yes, let's do
You
it.
mentioned you did mention settlement. So gold officially settles in 19 minutes, 12:30 p.m. Central Time. Is that something you factor into
Yeah.
your exit strategy? Do you trade around settlement? Will you trade
Eh,
after settlement? This time of day make any
I
difference at
will.
all?
It does. I mean, I will probably go for this take profit move into settlement. And then sometimes if I feel that they left some unfinished business, I might keep it past settlement, but I wouldn't initiate a trade after settlement. That doesn't generally work unless we have something going on with headline risk, in which case gold just kind of keeps trickling upside. So, that's been the name of the game now for at least a year and a half. And yeah, that might happen today. But we first, in order for this trade to be invalidated, I would need to see it bleed all the way above
Order
3,400.
filled.
And then I'll be like, okay, that's not working. Let's get out.
Hmm. Yeah, typically you would see that market start to dry up a little bit after 12:30 Central Time, but in recent
Yeah.
weeks it has been making some moves after that settlement.
Yeah.
Interesting to see there. All right, Deanna, short gold. Anne Marie looking to get short the ES. ES is heading back to the top of that range. I'm gonna switch over to the 1 hour chart that you were just looking at, Anne Marie. Do you have an entry price? Are you working an order right now? Or are you just gonna?
No, because I want
You're
to.
waiting for that. Yeah, you're waiting for
Yeah,
that
wait
liquidity
for the
grab.
liquidity grab.
It could be building up. Those stops. It's a very visual area.
Yeah, for
Highly
sure.
likely there's
And
stops building up above there.
Yeah, I like
it's
that trade idea.
just want to I just want to see them take it out. I What I
Hmm.
feel like is that I've taken so many trips to the well. I don't want the next time that I go to be a poison pool. So, um
This is a good topic now. So when you're trading ranges and you're taking the same trade over and over, have you noticed a pattern when it stops working, when it just peters out, or you see too many people getting on board, maybe, and the market just feels compelled to take everybody out at once? Is this something you keep
you,
track of?
it is. And the way that I suspect that something like that might be cooking is I look for the slope of the VWAP. And
Okay.
if we're coming into these areas and then collapsing down, and then we have these huge buying wicks at the bottom of the range, and then the VWAP keeps drifting up, I think to myself, something's about to happen. And so one of the things I will look for is on my TPOs, my time price opportunity, I'll look for the point of control to start lifting. And if it starts lifting, it tells me, well, looks like more people are getting involved at the top of that edge. So I
Hmm.
might be swimming against the current if I try to short it again.
It's an interesting topic. I'd like to dig more deeper into that at some time.
Absolutely.
Is it more of an intuition for some people? Is it something that you're seeing technically? I'm sure everybody
My
has their own version of
intuition,
it. Yeah.
yeah, my intuition absolutely stinks, except when it comes to when my children are doing something they're not supposed to. Then I know. But other than that, my intuition's not very strong. So I have to look for data to help me build that formation. And so the data that I like to look at are the moving averages because they sort of give me an amalgam of okay, what are these traders trying to do here? Right? Instead of just looking at it going, okay, well, that's a candle low, that's a candle high, I'm always turning it into a storyboard. And my storyboard is okay, what are they doing? Well, I'm seeing buying spikes at the bottom. So I know they're not giving up the ship there. It's not like I have candle bodies down here since the open. And so from that space, I go, all right, let's see if those candle bodies sort of creep into the higher range. I think people are going to go, oh, wash, rinse, repeat, wash, rinse, repeat. And then all of a sudden, boom, we get a liquidity break. Now, because I see a ton of negative divergence, I wouldn't do this, but if I didn't see negative divergence, if everything kept trending nicely to the north, I would do a buy stop up there around 59.99 and a quarter, one tick
Hmm.
above the high, and I'd go long into the next range. But I see call wall resistance. Uh, I see all kinds of things that tell me, listen, this thing is not going to run up and spike if and run to the moon if I'm
Hmm.
taking that trade. So normally though, if everything started trending and I had momentum moving up with me, I'd do a buy stop up above 59.99.
Okay. Interesting play. 59.99.
Someone in chat is asking me whether the VIP forum is today. What makes you think that I would know that?
None of us know that. They drop it when they want
None
to
of us
drop
know
it.
that. Yeah, they just say VIP forum, and if you're there on air, then it's like, okay, VIP forum. Let me have a vape break then.
Yep.
Other than that, have to, you have to keep watching.
Yep. Keep
There you
watching. They don't
go.
give us the heads up either, you know?
Oh,
Sometimes they do, sometimes
exactly.
they don't. It's just got to be here.
Surprise.
It is a surprise.
right.
Do we have another announcement though? Real quick, a little bit of housekeeping. If you missed it yesterday, we had Robin Dane, our new house mindset coach, is in here doing a Q&A, taking your questions from the chat, answering them live here on Top Step TV. If you weren't here for it, if you happen to miss it, it was a great segment. We're going to link the YouTube video to that session in the chat in just a few minutes. We're going to pin it to the top. Go ahead and bookmark it. Watch it at your leisure. Just filled with all kinds of great information. She really puts on a good show too. She had me laughing the whole time. Did you guys happen to catch that at all?
I did
Deanna,
not.
Anne Marie?
I
When
was
she goes
sadly
into
asleep.
when she goes into rapid fire, it's hilarious. Next. Boom, boom, boom. She hammers out every
Let's check
question
that
that
out.
you throw at her.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. Would you
But we
be
are going to get that.
worried? Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, we're going to get that link posted in the chat in just a minute, and we'll pin it to the top for everybody.
Thank you.
So what were you
Yeah.
saying, Anne Marie?
I was reading Boomer Bryan's comment that said, "Would you not be worried about the previous rejection above 6,000 towards 6,008? Seems to me like a break above would get slapped down like before." Yes, that's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
That is exactly what I'm thinking, which is why I don't want to do that. I'm going to wait until it rejects because I don't want to go. I don't want to take a trade that runs 15 points ahead of me. And then, I'm sitting like this going, please turn around. I would rather wait. I would rather
Mohammed,
wait.
Mo is also saying, noticed an iceberg at 59.9275 on the sell side if Anne Marie is looking for shorts.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You just saw it now? I wasn't looking at the ladder. That just traded.
You're most
Very
welcome,
interesting.
Brian.
But Anne-Marie, I know that scenario all too well also. When you start praying to the market, your prayers are rarely answered. And if they are, it's never in a timely fashion.
No. And then
The
you
market,
cut it, and then it goes away. And you're like,
yes, exactly. The market gods are very cruel. They're deeply
Oh, yeah.
cruel and sadistic.
The market gods will do whatever screws the most people. It's been the mantra
Yeah.
of the equities markets for the last 25 years.
Hey,
Whenever
it's
you get
on the
everybody
other
on the
markets
bus,
as well.
yeah. Whenever you get too many people on the bus going in the same direction, the market will change the direction.
Yeah, crude oil and RBOB
Absolutely.
love doing that. It's like, we're going up. Everybody's going up. No, you're not. Smash. And you're like, ouch. Okay. You can't even react to it. I remember being on shoulder tap once. Mick pulled me up because I was up, I don't know, about 1,200 on the day in crude oil. And then literally in 3 seconds, it wasn't even 3 seconds, it was like a nanosecond, some news came out and just completely took me all the way down. And he was like, D, don't give your profits back. And I was like, I couldn't react. I was like, I wanted to, but there's no time. That's why we got stops, right?
Exactly.
That's why we trade with stops, folks. Just in case of emergency. Good risk management. Oh, hey, we got that Robin Dane link pinned into the chat right now. Thank you, Coach Robert. That link is now pinned to the top of the chat. Go ahead and grab it. Checking back in on the markets, everything has now gone flat. I'm going to scale back to a 3-minute chart in the ES here. We've got very little movement since we started this segment.
I'm going to get out of this gold trade. I don't like it.
Let's take a look at what he's looking at in gold. Here's a micro contract. I'm going to go to the mini.
It's going over 3,400.
Yep, we are there right now. Or 8 minutes, 7 minutes till settlement in gold. Official settlement continues to trade for a few more hours, as everybody knows. But you really start to see. Traditionally, you start to see volume and volatility really drop off the cliff after that 12:30 regular trading hours closed. There are anomalies where it picks up speed a little bit. Say again, D? You're out?
I'm out. Yeah, don't like that.
All right. Everybody is flat. House is flat. Anne Marie is flat. Deanna is flat.
LaShawn has a good question. Can you speak on your decision to change your P&L colors? Is it something you're testing or already proven? So here's the thing. On most of my other platforms, I have some neutral colors, and that way I'm
Same.
not focusing on red or green, which to me have
Same.
like negative connotations. And I just find it easier this way. I don't know why, but it's just how I am. It might not be like that for
Same.
everyone. If you don't have any connection to the colors, then I suppose it would be okay. Look at it now. Now it's going to go back down under 3,400. Yes. Here's those market guards we were talking about. When D exits, we dip back down to 30. I don't know. I might try again, but I might go into micros at this point because I don't really want to keep doing
That's the
like a
safer move.
massive
Yeah.
hole. Yeah.
That's interesting though about the P&L colors. I might have to test that out.
Mm.
I've never really
Yeah,
played
it's
around with it
same
at
for
all.
me. Yeah, that's why I've got mine all gray. I got mine all
Mm,
gray. It doesn't I don't know if I'm up or down. All I'm doing is trading my process
Yep.
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
All right. Let's do the same thing. So same stop loss, 60, better entry. 3398.7 this time around, 5 micros.
Deanna short 5 micro gold 3398.7. All right. Back in the market. Real quick question in the chat from Liam wants to know, does Top Step publish daily settlement numbers? You get those the exchange will publish daily settlement official settlement numbers because the exchange establishes the official settlement numbers. Those come out about 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. We do publish them on TopStep X platform, your TopStep daily levels indicator on TopStep X. If you look at my chart real quick, this blue cayenne-ish line here in gold 33.7710, that is your settlement price, official settlement price established by the CME. So it's in your TopStep daily levels. Hope that helps you out. CME website, yeah. A wealth of knowledge at the CME.
Yes, really,
Yeah, I
indeed.
used their CVOL to figure out if I should be trading something or not because they've got it for, it's basically like a VIX for everything. And they've got it for metals, they've got it for most energies markets, agros, like everything, literally everything. So it's a pretty good data. So
Interesting.
yeah.
Very cool. All right. Switching back over to the ES, still flat. Look at the tilt real quick. Nothing changed. 58% long ES, 60% long NQ, 59% long crude, and 68% short gold. All right, guys. People keep asking about VIP. We're not dropping a form right now, but you want to talk about VIP for a little bit? What do you guys have planned for your teams for season 3? Anne Marie, anything special coming down the pipe? What are you planning
Well,
for? Do you got a syllabus? You got a
I do. I do have I try to be more organized. I took that from Dee because she is really great at organization and running the traders in the chameleonaires through a very solid process. So I learned from that and am incorporating that. And so what I have in mind are strict office hours because I used to be a statistics professor 150,000 years ago. I'm still on stone tablets, cracking things out. Um, and so I have office hours where I would, I want to encourage the traders to say, hey, this is my main problem, so that we can be very effective with what we do on the times that we're live. And then in the last 15, 20 minutes, I go over a framework of, hey, these are the things we want to watch for day after day. I've got some forms that I'm going to give them to track themselves. They're forms that I can see. And so the more you participate, the more I get to see how you're involved with that. And the more you work on that, the more I know that you're really serious about that. And so I'm going to
Hmm.
engage more heavily with the traders that really do what they maybe won't even do what they're supposed to, but they certainly are trying and going through the motions and that sort of thing. So it's going to be a little bit more classroom session event where you talk about a topic and then you go through work some problems just like you did in statistics if you ever took that kind of class or any kind of math class,
Hmm.
just learning what are the pictures that we're seeing, and I'm really bringing it down into simple things. I've incorporated Jay's. Here's what's great about having all these VIP coaches to learn from. The ones that I've resonated with, I resonate with Robert because he's very technical, very rigid. I resonate with Dee because her approach is very uniform, highly structured. And I resonate with Jay, who really has these very great concepts about volume, which I really had not incorporated. I sort of went, yeah, volume, whatever. But now I notice that when I look at my hourly charts, which I have to because, again, I think a little bit slower, and the hourly charts give me time to prep about what's going on. And so the same 3 minute chart that he looks at, I think he's trying to code some stuff with 15-minute time frames. I move it to the hour. And so I anchor the VWAP to the prior largest volume of the prior day. And so every day I re anchor that VWAP. It tells me what's going on. And just trying to make it very straightforward so that you can see the hard rules and then you can build the soft ones around them. So that's what I'm going to do. But I absolutely wanted to give a hat tip to the VIP coaches that I really have tried to emulate from their experiences.
Awesome. So these traders, if you get picked to be on Anne-Marie's team, you're getting some real classroom experience. Will you be taking attendance every day? Is that a thing?
I
Uh,
might.
should should traders be worried if they miss 3 classes? You are out as a typical.
I had a professor that would lock the door if you were more than 30 seconds late. Oh yeah. And
It's not a bad
finally, the
idea.
last time the last time he did it, I knocked on the door and I said, "I'm paying for this class and I'm going to yell until you open the door." Because I was always rushing across campus, so it's like a 15-minute run and I was a math major, so my books weighed like 75 pounds and so he let me in, but I would leave the other class early so that he wouldn't lock me out because I did feel quite shamed, to be honest. It's
That's
pretty
horrible. That's
shameful.
horrible. Hoop says, get yourself a nurse's note or a doctor's note. That'll work too.
It won't matter.
It won't matter. You heard it, folks. It will not matter. You're either in or you're out. There are no second chances. All right. All right, Deanna, what's going on with the Chameleonaires season 3? Any changes that you're making? Are you gonna changing your approach up at all? What's new? What's fresh?
Yeah, so I have a syllabus. Obviously, I have the classroom concept. I found that that works really well with most people. So the only thing I might change up is the order of the lectures, because I think some of the concepts need to be talked about earlier. So that'll be the only thing. But I do hope that this time around we get some kind of a way to sort of take away the playing time from the people that are completely not doing what they're supposed to be doing, because we didn't really have that last time, and that lack of control really bothered me. We
Mm-hmm.
had a couple of people who kept trading 15 lots and then vastly overshooting the targets, going into massive drawdowns, but yet never actually reaching the target. And I'm like, dude, did you not read the rules? Like, what worth is it to make like 60, 70 grand in one day and then to lose it all and then some on the next day? when it's just an evaluation, it's a learning tool. It's like, what are we doing? So I couldn't really get through to them. They were kind of in Discord. Some of them weren't even in Discord. So I might start taking attendance as well. That's definitely an idea. But yeah, I'm looking
Hmm.
forward to see what kind of changes behind the scenes we're gonna get. I'm kind of hoping for some better stats as well, because the stats were a little bit awkward last time, maybe not quite accurate. However, I will still encourage whoever is in my group to have a separate thread where they can do like end of day journaling, like how did they do, whether it was a bad day or a good day, it doesn't matter. We still need to journal. And in fact, the bad days are probably more valuable than the days where everything goes right. Because, the days where everything goes right, it's just like, great, my plan worked, the end. Like, cool story, bro.
Hmm.
But when it doesn't happen, you find out things about your mental triggers, about what puts you on tilt, what, all of that we need to track. But yeah, apart from a few kind of shuffling around of the syllabus, it's going to be pretty similar. And the only difference, like I said, would be to have a little bit more control over what people are doing. So hoping for
Yep.
that.
Let's talk about the statistics for a minute. You mentioned this. Things did get jumbled up a bit at the end of season two. We rolled out the brand new dashboard. So as traders were resetting accounts, they were getting moved from one dashboard to another, and we were losing trader information during that shift. So
Yeah,
it became a little inaccurate in the last couple weeks of the last season. But all that's figured
I'm
out now.
flat,
We're
by
gonna
the
have all
way.
our.
I'm done.
Oh, Deanna's flat. What happened in that trade?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, nothing. It just went even further. So I'm done with this day, and I'm done with gold and with
Yep.
copper today. So, minus 1.6K, not too difficult to get out of, but that's enough for the day. I don't need to take the full data loss today. If I can't
Yep.
turn it around in, a full session, so it's just not the day that I should be carrying on to trade. So there's the point where we need to know when to stop, and I'm stopping now. In
Exactly.
fact, I'm going to lock myself out.
I was just gonna ask, is this a lockout session? Here we
Yes.
go.
This is a lockout session. Lock me out. The end. There we go.
And we are locked out. All right.
Yeah. One thing I want to add is the reason that D is really thinking about those traders that really skew the averages is because the folks at Top Step track us to see how well we're doing with our traders. And if we have this gigantic outlier that is making our stats look absolutely horrendous, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, that's a problem. Now, as a statistician, I could say, hey, we could choose the median instead of the mean, and that would help us out a little bit in terms of folks doing whatever they want no matter what we say. But yeah, I mean, we're asking for you to try to do what it is we're asking you to do, because at the end of the day they're tracking how well we're doing, and so we
Yeah,
we
I had
really
to,
want you to.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, exactly. So I had a couple of people who were like, "Yeah, I'm doing great in my non-VIP XFA. Thank you so much, Dee." And I was like, "You're welcome. I'm happy for you, but it's not going in my stats." So
That does nothing to help us, yeah.
yeah,
And you're not the only one. I got those updates every single day from at least one coach, like, oh,
yeah,
Trader X took a payout, not from the VIP account,
yeah,
but he took another
yeah.
$3,000 payout. I'm like, well, that's great to know. Thank you.
Yeah,
And
so that's also maybe
Doesn't help your
something to,
stats,
yeah,
but thanks
maybe
for
that's
letting
something to
me know.
consider. From the point of maybe going through another XFA, are they taking payouts? Does that go into our stats because they're our trader? I mean, I hope that at some point it will, because does it matter which account it is? If they're, still taking payouts and stuff, shouldn't that count for something? But, that's all
Mhm.
something for us to think about
Yeah,
on the back end. But yeah, more control and less outliers. I'm all for that.
we could
Definitely.
talk through a little bit about this right now if you want while we're here. What kind of trader stats do you want to see uh, displayed on Top Step TV? Is there anything specific that
Yeah.
you want access to that you don't think you had access to in the last season, or anything in
Well, yeah,
particular?
quite a few things that I actually mentioned in the last season as well. I think that average trade duration of winners and losers would be helpful.
Okay.
I wanted to see MAE and MFE as well, maximum adverse excursion, maximum favorable excursion. They're a mouthful, but they're very useful stats to see how much drawdown in a trade people go through. And then I've also had some people who are shooting for the moon with targets like all the time, which is okay to do at
Hmm.
certain points in chart locations, but you can't be doing that every day. That's like a swing trade that might happen intraday every 2 weeks, once a month. It's not something to do every day. So MFE would tell me if the trader is holding on to trades too long, and then things like how many trades they're doing. I think they were telling me that through stats that they were posting in the channel themselves with screenshots. I would like to see that as well, because I don't know whether a trader has done like 150 trades that day or one. That's a huge
Hmm.
difference. And to me, anytime I see a super scalper and then I ask them, how long they've been trading, and they say, oh, since October. And I'm like, right. And you think your skills are high enough for you to do this, right? And they're like,
Hmm.
well, I've always done it that way. I was like, always? You mean since October? It's like,
Yep.
what is always? So, some stats, just to go a little bit deeper down that rabbit hole for those of us who love stats. I've never done like statistics at university or anything like that. I'm just a plain old simple musician, but I love stats in my everyday life. I am more of a quant strategist for my company than anything else. And I use a lot of stats, so I rely on them to tell me how things are progressing when we're moving away from the norms. If you have a trader, for example, who trades on average 5 trades a day, and then they do one day where they do pretty well, but they've done 150, and then I look at their intraday curve and they've done like a massive drawdown on the day, but somehow dug themselves out. That's not a great day for me. That's like, wow, okay, so that went completely wrong. You went on tilt and somehow ended up money. Good for you, but let's try and not repeat that. And whenever I ask what happened, and they're like, "Oh, it started horrible, and then I just kept over trading, and I kept over trading, and in the end, it worked out." I'm like,
Hmm.
hmm, yeah, that's where the problem lies, right? Because you don't want to be doing that. So
Yep.
yeah, just like little things like that, more stats, deeper view into what people are actually doing. But most importantly, if somebody is stepping away from the curriculum and things that we agree on, like, don't trade with massive size, let's try and make it through the VIP combine without spending only 2 days in the evaluation, because that is not the point. This is more now for the actual traders who will be a part of the next season. If you're passing something in 2 days, and in and when you look back through your performance, you cannot keep your XFA longer than 2 days. Don't you think that that's where the issue lies, that you never actually spend enough time during the data gathering and experience gathering time in the eval to then actually carry over those skills into the XFA?
Hmm.
And they're like, well, I keep blowing XFAs. That's why I'm in the VP. And I'm like, yeah, can you, listen maybe and try to do it my way? Some of them take like 2.5 months before they're like, okay, so that hasn't worked. Now I'm going to behave.
Yep.
Well, what were you doing for 2.5 months? It's like,
Change is
I
And
hard.
feel like
yeah,
I'm talking to a wall.
and it is
So from that
it
point of view, yeah, go.
it is and it's supposed to be an experience, a 3 month long experience for these traders, not a
Yeah,
3 day long. And we do
yeah,
see that, that's why we make the vetting process so rigorous. You have to be here for 30 forms. You have to fill out 30 forms to get into this VIP experience. We sort of want you to prove to us that you're serious about this. You're here every day. You're watching. You're eager to learn, and you really want access to this program. That's why we're doing it in the format that we are.
yeah.
But still, even still, in those first 3 days, we're going to be trimming some fat off some of these teams. Some traders just like to YOLO a free reset. They'll pass that combine in 2 days,
Sure.
blow out their XFA on the third day, and then we never hear from them again. And
Yeah, but
it's
what's
happened
the
every time
point?
so
It's like
far.
if
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. We've all had a few of those. And I remember on the first week, because this was my first season doing the VIP. On the first week, I had somebody who passed in 2 days, and they're like, yeah, I'm in an XFA. Guess what? The weekend came. Tuesday, the XFA was gone. I'm like, well, that was a waste of time. I don't think we've even done like one single live session up until then. So I'm like, do you not want to wait until we actually have a session together just to kind of hear what the goals I'm planning for you guys and girls? And no, just blow out and goodbye. And that's kind of what we see in the prop world as well. I've seen some people who
Hmm.
come into the office, fast and furious. They make like 60 grand one day, they make 100 grand the next day, and then blow it all on the following week. And then they're out of the office. Now, these days, I mean, JD, I don't know, have you worked in prop?
I have, yes,
Yeah,
I
so
have
you've seen
experience.
those people for surely. Like every single prop firm must have them. I've worked in like three different prop firms like that, and
It's true. Yeah,
every single firm has it. Yeah, and there's no reset. You just get booted out the door. It's like, what's a
yeah,
reset? But
Exactly.
here at Topstead, you can try again and try again and try again until you get there. But you're not supposed to keep making the same mistake. Change nothing and nothing changes. It's a very good saying for a very good reason. So the VIP experience, I would like
I
people
love
to step
that.
into it with a mindset that it is a learning experience and that you're there to figure out why you're blowing up so many XFAs in such a short space of time. And that's what we're here for. We're here for you to support you, but just try and maybe take in everything on the first week or so. Just don't go trying to YOLO the VIP combines, because us as
hmm
coaches, we're not happy when we see that. We're all very, very passionate about this. We want to help people. We've been through the cycle, the spin cycle, as MP calls it.
yep,
And we want to help you get out of it. So give us a chance,
yep.
give us a
Yeah.
chance.
And that's it. That's it.
Some comments about our process, our vetting process with the forms. We know it's not perfect. We're still working through it. We're kind of building the plane in the air, as they say, but it'll get better. It'll continue to get better. This isn't the last
Yeah.
VIP season we're gonna have, so just sit tight. uh, Hey Marie, I'd like to pick your brain about stats for a minute, if
Yeah.
I may.
Sure.
Also, this is almost
Absolutely.
like we're just having a meeting outside of work right now. But
I
what would you
know.
like to see from your traders? What kind of information do you want? What would make your life easier as a coach? What kind of data would you like to see in season 3 from your traders?
Um, I'd like to see some of the same things that Dee mentioned. I think what's more important to me is that traders realize that they're given an opportunity that, if you go to some of the prop firms that I know about and have worked with in the past, you got to bring 25, 30, 50 grand to get in the door, and
Mm-hmm.
then they help do things by putting risk around you, giving you frameworks to work with, giving you particular setups that you can execute, and literally you're getting all of that for free. But a lot of times people treat free things like they're free. They don't care. And we we want folks to care. And so the only thing I'm looking for is, are you keeping forms that are good for you? If I go, hey, listen, this is a form. If you're trading so many times that you go, I can't track my trades, then stop trading so much so that you can track them, or else you're going to fall into the boom and bust cycle that
Mm-hmm.
every trader who's in the graveyard of traders has gone through, the boom and the bust and the boom and the bust. Well, I love that you just said, Dee. I've never heard it before. Change nothing and nothing changes. And change is hard. And so the reason I
Very.
put the forms up is I want to see folks go, you know what? This was the trade I did. Here was my setup. And I'm not looking, I can't read 75, 600 word paragraphs about all folks trading like that. What I want to see is, did you look and cleanly go, I executed because of this, I executed because of that, it didn't work. here's what I learned from it. And that's really all that I am looking for because we all trade differently. And so I'm not expecting people to go, hey, just do it like me. What I am trying to tell them is that there are a few things that you have to keep hard and fast. You have to keep risk very much under control because if you don't, you're going to lose all your money. And if it's real money, then that really, really sucks. If it's a combine or an XFA, you get to restart and start over. But who wants to go back to the starting line for 1,500 races? Nobody wants to do that. So that's
Very true.
really that's really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the trader to go, I realize there's some things I need to change. I'm willing to take a look at the things I need to change, and then I'll decide how I want to change them. But most folks don't even do that. They're like, "Well, this is how, I can't even tell you how many times I've heard the same thing, D. This is just what I do. This is how I do." Well, why are you in the VIP program then? Why aren't you out trading, $1.5 million somewhere else?
Yeah, if
Yeah,
it's
Right?
so
right.
And
great. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Let's
I
pull the
actually had
chat.
because yeah, yeah, let's pull the chat. How many trades
How
have
many
you?
traders in
Uh,
how many traders in the chat have $1 million brokerage account right now?
yeah,
Raise your
yeah.
hand.
I know there's a couple at least, but yeah, there was somebody who signed up for a program that I do every so often. That's called the Payout Incubator, where I take a small amount of people and then we analyze exactly what they're doing in trading. They need to submit plans and stuff, and kind of reports at the end of the day. And I had somebody who was inquiring about it. They actually already signed up, and then he came on to my what was then the London London session. He was like, "Yeah, so anyways, I found you through your channel, but I signed up for your thing, and just wanted to ask you on ideas on how to journal 300 trades per day." And I was like, you do 300 trades per
don't
day? I'm gonna give you your money back right now because if you think I'm gonna be analyzing 300 trades, you're very
no.
wrong there. And he actually went on to massively reduce that size, and he was doing a lot better with less stress. I can imagine that his eyes were all bloodshot, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm just like, do very very well in 2 weeks, and then third week I mess it all up." And I'm like, what does that tell you? That it's not very sustainable past the 2 weeks. So
Mm-hmm.
why don't we try to make your trading more sustainable, right? Something that can survive the third week at the very
Yep.
least. Ideally,
Yeah.
3 months, 6 months, a year, without completely blowing up, or lose money slower. Lose money
Yeah.
slower. That's like,
Lose
It's a
money
long
slower. Yeah,
game. Yeah,
it
it
is.
is a
yeah,
long game, and
And you know,
people trade like it's a slot machine.
hmm if trading too much size really stresses you out, then it's your body telling you that you are trading too much size, and it's time to scale back a little bit. Right? Does that make sense?
yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. People don't know how to listen to themselves either.
Yeah, the problem is once fight or flight response kicks in, there's no rational thinking. No rational
And
thinking.
it's
Your
gone.
prefrontal cortex shuts down, and all you're doing is just trying to survive. But there's
hmm
no lion chasing you. It's just a bit of money lost. If it's controlled, shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't irk you so much that your ego and your self worth is completely, diminished. And so let's just
Great point.
not. I always say, don't go into the extremes. You can make very nice living trading sensible size and sustaining the funded accounts that are an asset. They're like buying a property, right? You get an asset that can bring you money in the future. But if you don't know how to manage it, it's going to become a problem. And
Yep.
that's what we're trying to teach. It's amazing. We're just saying common sense.
It's true. It's true.
If your entire livelihood is hanging in the balance of a single sim trade, you're doing something wrong, folks.
Yeah.
Well said, JD.
That's a miserable existence for sure. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
Well, guys, we got about 2 minutes left. Not much movement. We didn't get much movement in the ES. We haven't seen Anne Marie's move yet. We're looking for that liquidity grab at new highs, just above 5,600. We'll see if we can get there going into the last 2 hours of trade. Deanna is flat out of those out of those gold trades, locked up for the day. Any closing comments? Anything you want to say to everybody before we get out of here? Anne Marie, we can start with you.
No, just have a conversation with yourself about what you really want to do in the trading game, right? Are you just in here because it's fun and you're paying $150 a month because it's entertainment? Then, fine. But if you really are trying to do something and you've been doing it over and over again and you're not getting the results you want, you got to change. And change is hard. I'm not making it trivial. It's hard, but just do it.
So true. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much, Anne Marie. Coach D, any final words, last words of encouragement before we get out of here?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm going to give a super brief history lesson of how prop trading used to work. Anne Marie mentioned it briefly. She said that before you had to come to a prop firm with money. Not trivial either.
Mm-hmm.
25 to 30 grand was completely normal if you wanted to join a prop firm. That was known as the collateral.
Yep.
And you would get into a prop firm, and that collateral would be there as kind of a almost like a payment for risk systems and stuff. But once you lost that, you would be out the door. So I would urge you to respect and to realize how lucky we are that the industry has changed and the Top Step decided to bring online prop firm model to the space where you can try again and try again, but don't abuse it. And keep in
Yep.
mind that we're extremely privileged to be able to try again after blowing up.
Well said.
Extremely privileged. So don't take that for granted and go into this with a mindset that it's a career unlike a doctor or a lawyer, that it's going to take time, but with guidance, that path can be somewhat shortened. That's all I have to say.
I love that.
Deanna, don't
It's
don't discount
fantastic.
those desk fees and technology fees at the old prop
Oh my
firms either.
God!
Oh
Yes,
my
three
I think
gosh.
thousand per month. I was I
oh
was I was paying at one
I
point.
think
Yeah.
Jack Pelzer had it the worst out of all of us. I think he was paying somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000 a month for desk fees, technology fees,
Ouch.
and he was at
So
one of the
that,
biggest
yeah.
prop firms on the planet.
So
Uh,
here's how that went. Those desk fees, you don't have to pay them upfront, but you would recoup them from whichever month you become profitable. So
yep.
imagine someone who steps in and first month sucks, second month sucks. You're in the hole. Like, let's say you make 5 grand first month, uh, minus three k that I was paying. You're only left with 2k, and then after the profit split, you get
Yeah,
nothing.
after the profit split, you're
And
leaving with
yeah,
35
it
bucks.
was horrible. Yeah, it was horrible. And then finally you get that one big month and you're thinking, yeah, that's great, but you have to recoup all the desk fee. And now people are complaining about 49 bucks for an eval. It's like, okay then.
So what happens? Well, yeah, you open up the space to everybody, and you can't please
Yeah.
all the people all the time, right? But here
Yeah.
we are. We're doing our best. Everyone
Yeah,
has
no,
access
you're
to the
doing
markets
great.
now
It's amazing.
at an excellent price
Yeah.
point. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, folks. Anne Marie, Coach D, thanks for joining us. Your insights are always appreciated. Delightful hanging out with you. Everybody appreciates it. That's all the time we
Same.
have for Lunchbox Trading. Stick around, folks. If you want another shot at joining the next VIP season, we've got Top Quiz coming up next. You're going to get another chance. So Eddie and Bonnie are coming in. Questions are going to be a little tougher than Monday, so put your thinking caps on and get ready for it. And then we've got Daryl P coming in just a little bit. He spent some time on our Hot Streaks list. I mentioned his name probably 24 times on Top Step TV, going over our Hot Streaks list. So he's going to be here live in person. That's starting at about 1:15 Central Time, about 20 minutes or so. So we're going to take a short break, and we're going to be back with Top Quiz in just a minute. Top Step TV. Let's go.